So, yeah, I see one. Hey, Manny, what's up? Today we're doing a beat breakdown. Well, to be more specific, kind of like a run of how I make my beats. So we have like a new track which I just posted on YouTube at Geshuru. The track's name is Lago. So yeah. So from the jump, yo, let's look at this a bit. Okay, for those who have been following my work, I'd say I'm a heavy sampler. So we have like a few samples here. So just to get you guys familiar with them, I'll play a bit of them in the original version, and then I'll play the tweaked up version. So we start with the main one. It's down 100 semitones, sorry. So let's put it back up. So here's how it sounds. So that's the original version of the sample. So that's with the normal pitch, everything. So let's go to number 2. So here it is. So the next one is just like a fragment from the first one. So I'll just play it also without any tweaks. So here it is. So basically, it's just one of the stems from the other one. What else do we have here? Well, we have like a minor sample. It's not really much, but it's more of a hi-hat. So I'll just play for you guys. Let's just go back a bit. So it is nothing much to it, just a regular hi-hat, trap hi-hat with some rolls at the end. As you can see here, I kind of like tweaked it a bit, so not to have like a little bit of change, not so much the same thing. So the rolls you see here at the end and whatnot. Awesome. So then let's just tweak up the samples back to where they were. There you go. So another key thing now is the drums, because the sample is just like, let's say like a 60% of the whole track. So I'll just play the what do you call this, the trap drums. So let's start here. We'll start with the at the snare. Okay, so this is the snare. At first I'll just play them with the effects, and then at the end of the session I'll just show you guys how everything is. So like the particular effects, EQ, everything. So let's just play it off. As you can hear, it's like a very tight snare. It's like very EQ'd. Maybe I can play like a tiny bit of it like without any effects. Give me like a second. Channel 6. So here's the original form. As you can hear, it's not very appealing. It's very loud, very aggressive. So we have to like tone it down a bit. So let's move on to the kick. So here's the kick. Also very EQ'd. Very EQ'd. There we go. Very nice, very nice. Nice. And then also another piece. Well, this is not really a sample, but I use the Flex app. It's you get it if you have to all those who know FL Studio. It comes with the whole software if you buy it. Also, if you don't buy it, I mean, if you if you get it illegally, but yeah, that's not the point. So it doesn't really have much changed, just a tiny tweak here and there, maybe with the attack, as you can see here. Let me just push it closer to the camera. Like, so the very, very slight tweaks to the envelopes, volume envelope, attack, and just made it a bit narrow. Not really nothing crazy. So here's what it sounds like. There you go. And also, I forgot one major sample. So I'll just play it off the jump. Many of you may realize or like hear something familiar about it, but let's see if we'll catch on. Okay. So I'll play for you guys the original version. For those who listen to Kanye West, it's from one of his old songs, a good music track. So let me just play the whole version here. So this is the original song where the sample got cut off. So let's hear it. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. So now here you go now.
Okay, Lamborghini Mercy. Yo, chick, she so thirsty. I'm in that 2C Lambo with your girl, she tryna jerk. Okay, Lamborghini Mercy.
So that's where the sample is from. All I did was just drop it down one semitone, both of them, and then here you have like a small chop, nothing too crazy. So just to make it a bit different at the end.
Okay.
Just like a quick chop. So now I'll play everything together. Then after, I'll just play half of it, and then we'll walk through the EQs and the different effects and also the mastering. So let's start. Yeah, and also one interesting one is my producer tag.
Hey, sure.
Proudly done by me. So yeah, here we go. So that's the track. Now we walk through the different effects. So I'll just solo out every single channel so you hear everything. So let's start from here. Where is it? Where you at? A second. That was one. Here we go. this so basically what I did was, let me just cancel it out. There we go. And the second one. So I'll just turn them off and then we hear the original version, like without any compression, whatever. Let's hear it. As you can hear, it's like very hard to listen to. It's very rough, muddy, and it's very like it's very tricky when you come now to the end, like for the mastering and everything. And like also you have to like watch out in mixing because it's very, it bleeds out a lot, and it's what's the word? It's very like heavy. Like if you're wearing like earphones, if you have like speakers, like regular speakers, you won't really tell the difference. You'll hear something is off, but you won't really pick like, okay, it's here. But if you have like earphones, like it's very hard to listen to. So what I did was because I wanted to keep the bass and the horns, so all I did was just tweak up a bit of the low end, just a little bit, just to make it a bit clearer. So as you can hear now, it's very toned down, it's not so heavy. And also now, here, this dip that you see, let me just put it like this, sorry. So this dip you see right here, so this is for the mids, because the mid, it was very, that's where like I was getting too many unwanted frequencies from. But that wasn't enough, so I had to pull up a second one and now make like a really steep one, just really like to make it as clear as possible, because there's nothing bad as having like a good track and it's not properly mixed. It makes it difficult for people to even enjoy it or listen to it twice. So that's that. Everything is on. Let's go to the second one. The other ones are very, very quick. They're not so heavy. So here we go. Let's see what's next on the line. Ah, here it is. What is this? Ah, same one. This is also like a bit of it with a toned down bass, but it's not really, I didn't really use it for the track. So it's just there on the lineup. So let's see. There we go. Now with this one, wasn't anything crazy, but what I did was also cut out like most of the, let me just make it a bit bigger. So as you can see here, all the low end out. So all we have is just this, because I don't want to have like two contradicting low end basses, because now everything will be heavily muddy. And also like for the kick later on, because I want that kick to punch as hard as possible. And when you have that mix up, it gets a bit tricky. So yeah. And the next one is basically just a vocal chop. Nothing much really to it. As you can see, just low end off, not all of it, but just most of it. And also like a slight boost towards the high. Just a little bit 2,996 hertz. Yeah, don't really pay too much attention to those numbers, but just a slight boost just to make it a bit different. What else? Yes. Number 6. Here's a snare now. So that's with all the EQ, like I showed you guys before. Without the EQ, this is how it sounds like. With the EQ, a bit cleaner, easy to hear. And now a quick walkthrough to the hi-hats. Nothing really much to it. Also, you will see with most of my productions, like most of the highs are cut off just to make it easier to listen to. And with this one, I kind of boosted up the high end a bit because it was very, I didn't like it, so I just wanted to boost it a bit. You can hear it now. Like it's more refined, it's smoother in a way. Nice. Now the kick. So I'll play the kick without the... Now here you see also with the kick, I try also to cut off a bit of the high end and low end a bit, just to make it more full and also punchy. Most people push, actually boost towards the end, but for me I always try to cut it out because I want it to be as punchy as possible, not muddy. So here's it. Here it is without the all the effects, whatever. Now I know most of you will hear that and be like, "Hey, there's nothing different with it." But if you really pay attention to detail, like the little things, like it's very off-putting in the final mix of everything. Now, when everything is all together and you're trying to cut out this and that, it can get a bit hectic. So we just try to clean up as much as we can along the way. So what is this? So also this is the sample here. Nothing really much to it, just a bit of reverb, just to make it more full and a bit echoey. As you can see also, again, low end off. So we have like the mids and the highs, because that's what we want from that one. And now to the main event for the break. So I'll solo it out. Now, to those who are wearing headphones, earphones, you can hear that properly because it's sub bass, just to support the track. Nothing really crazy because I already have the bass that I need in the main sample. That's just to carry us through. Nice. So that's the first track, Murcielago. Be sure to check it out on my YouTube page. The link is in my bio. Let's move on to the second track. So, save. Let's see what we have here. So let's walk through this a bit. Wait 1 second. Studio 12. Okay. So the next one is just loading up a bit. Take a few seconds. Oof. Yo. Come on, come on. Yo. Now to all the producers out there, oh my god. When you have like multiple like DAWs, digital audio workstations like open, or when you try to open like multiple, it can get a bit hectic and heavy on the CPU. So right now I'm experiencing a lot of that. Whew, no response at all. No worries, no worries. Let's just go to the next one. Wait, let me hear this one a bit. Which track is this? Ah, there we go, there we go. So, loading up. One also big problem that I also like struggle with is naming the tracks, because when I also like post on my other channels like Spotify, Apple Music, I always try to like switch up the names also, like to kind of like flow with the cover art. So when it comes now to like looking for it, it's very like stressful. Here we go. So I'll play the samples just like in the other one, because as we've learned today, like I'm a very heavy sampler. Not really good with instruments, but yeah, I kind of like, I'm more in tune with arranging and deconstructing, and then also like remixing a bit. So I'll just play the track a bit, half of it, and then we'll go through the samples and then each particular part of the song and then the effects. So that was the track. Played a bit longer than I was supposed to, but hey, when you like it, you like it. So now I'll play the individual parts of the song. So now the main melody. Let me remove. Oh, yeah, it's okay. No effect on it really. So let me play it. So what we heard is just a quick electric guitar with a lot of heavy reverb on it and EQ. So as you can hear, there's also like a heavy echo on it. Put everything to the center where we can all see it. So as you can see, again, one heavy thing about me and my production, low end for me is a very big nuance and I don't really like it. At least I like low end, but not unnecessary low end. If I want low end, you will see like as we progress on the track. But with this one, with the main melody, I just need it to be precise, straight to the point, easy to listen to, smooth, clear as possible. So we worked a bit on the highs, not really highs, but mids, like a small dip, nothing too crazy. But here's where like we had to do like a lot of work to make it as clean as possible. So yeah, let's go to the next piece. So that's the bass. 1 second. Now with this one, let me just put it to the middle. There was a lot of heavy work, especially with the highs. I'll play without anything so you can hear the difference. So it's like very rough. It sounds like your speakers are tearing off. I mean, in some tracks that would be ideal, but with the direction I was going with this one, I didn't really like that. So I had to like switch up a few things. So at first, the highs had to go immediately. So I'll play with the highs. So just here. Now, I mean, obviously we'd need like a bit of highs, but nothing too crazy, just a little bit. And also the mids decide to tweak it a bit, but the low end, now you can see when it's a bass, at least for me, that's where now the low end shines. So now it's there. It's also not crazy because it could be higher than that, but just for the overall cleanup and mixing of the track, at least for me, that was the best outcome that we needed. So let's play the next one. Where is it? So just the other piece of it. So we have now like a break in between the song, or rather like after the mid of the song. So like a bridge, let's say that. So that was just it's like a nice break, like because everything is like super fast, everything is moving like very quickly in the mix, and that was like a nice break, like at least for the listener, just like calm down, and then like okay, there's a switch up, and then like is it like will there like be like a different like vibe, or is it the end? So just something to like cool off the track and then end at a high note, at least for me. So yeah, now let's go to the kicks and everything. So let me just put everything back on. Let's just start from here. So we'll start with a clap. Nothing crazy, just regular clap, regular trap clap, sorry. Let's go to the other snare, just to make it more like trappish. So there it goes. There we go. And now the hi-hat. Sorry, the shots, then the hi-hats. So for me, like what I really love with my track, and especially with my percussions, it's good at least to diversify them a little bit, just to make them a bit more interesting, because like I feel like we kind of like do the same generic vibe or sound, so it's good at least to stand out a bit, like in at least every track if you can. And for me, like I throw in like a little bit of just something different, not too crazy, it's nothing new, let's say that it's nothing new, but it's something that like offsets the track. If you were to remove certain elements of the song, like this too, then it just sounds more generic. But if you just put like a tiny bit, it kind of offsets everything, and it makes it a bit different, even if it's not much, just a little bit. And now let's go to the kick. There we go. Like I told you, my kicks always have to punch. I don't care what track it is, they have to hit as hard as possible. So what I do again, you'll see this, it's a common thing in all my tracks. We boost, we have to cut a bit of the low end, because the bass is really prevalent in that side. So just to make it a bit more, to fit in that pocket, just a little bit. And also we reduce like close to the mids, cut off a few hats, nothing really crazy, but just to make it a bit more punchier. Many people would differ with me. They would maybe switch up the mids and leave like the low end, or maybe like just switch it like a tiny bit. But at least for me, this is what like I've been doing like in most of my tracks, and I kind of grew used to it. So with every track that I make, whether it's a different genre or whatever, like I flow with it. because I try to make my music based around that. So there we go. Yeah. I also like a small like change here, nothing really crazy. Just panning. So then put everything together. Wait. So basically the panning there is just it's working with the bass and also the main melody, just to like push it like to like just left to right a bit. But here nothing really much is happening. It's just kind of like the intro just a little bit. But here now, that's where now it leans to the side. So as you can see, like it just leans just to make the beat more exciting in a way. Because if it's just like a straight line, I feel like it's a bit boring. You have to like pan things to the left, to the right, to make it a bit more realistic and more let's say like adventurous for the listener. So yeah, that was track number 2. You can also find it also the track's name is Juice, but you can also find it in my YouTube and also Spotify, Apple Music, or any of the major outlets that you listen with. So yeah, let's move on to track number 3. I'll try to do like maybe 5 or 6, and then maybe towards the end, if we still have time, I can maybe cook up something small, nothing really crazy, but just a little bit. So let's see what we have here. Let me see this. Just a quick second. Okay. Okay. Okay, finally. There we go. Let me just listen to it. Oh, nice. I like this. So this, you can also find it on my YouTube. It's not on any other outlet, just mainly YouTube. It's a Post Malone type beat. So I'll just play like let me see how long it is. 2 minutes. Let me play just a minute of it, and then we'll just do like a quick walkthrough. There we go. So let's walk through the samples very quick. Yes, so this is down 2 centimeters. So basically, let's just say cents. Just it's mainly with the pitch. So I'll play the original sound. it doesn't really sound, at least for me now, I didn't really like it, so I had to like tweak it a bit, change the pitch and just the overall direction of the whole track. Now let's move to the second sample. So this is the bass. So nothing really crazy with it. And yeah, so sample number 3. So nothing really crazy, just slight switch ups, just very slight. So at least for the listener, you just hear like there's like a small shift, just to make it more interesting, not boring. So I'll play the next one. So it's very minute, not really prevalent in the mix, but when you add all of these elements together, it's more exciting, more full. So the track doesn't feel like it's empty or like it's lacking anything, at least for the most part. So yeah, those were the main samples. So let me see if I missed anything. Just 1 second. No, everything is good. What is this? Yeah, nothing missed. So now we move just very quickly to the drums and everything. So like we always do, we start with like I always start with the snare, because it's very hard for me to place drums if I don't know, like, at least the snare guides my direction to a degree. So now I know like what tricks to do, like what switch ups to put in. So yeah, it's very like it's a basic trap snare. Nothing crazy about it, very simple. And for me, what I learned, very like all these simple ideas really, like if you put them together properly, they add up to a very big thing. So most people usually like try to, how would I say, they make it a bit more complicated, but nah. In the bigger picture, you don't really need to overcomplicate everything. Just make it as very clear and direct as possible. So now let's move on to the next percussions. So that's also, the second one is also another snare, trap snare, heavily compressed, heavily EQ'd. Most of the lows are gone, mostly focused on the mids and the highs, just to make it a bit more sharp, and also for it not to get lost in the overall mix or as you clean up towards the end. So the next one, I think, is the hi-hats, if I'm not wrong. Wait, let me zoom in a little bit. No, sorry, the kick. So as you can hear, like they're two distinctive hi-hats. So the first one is this. EQ'd down is not really prevalent, it's very like low. But the second one now is a bit high up. So it makes it a bit more exciting. It adds a bit of what would I say? It makes it more full. At least for me, with the two hi-hats, I like them, but individually they didn't really fit the track. because if you play it all together, so let's start with the fast hi-hat. So as you can hear, like there's a big difference when you add the second one. It's more, it sounds more like exciting and more interesting. The other one is a bit more basic and laid back. But if you're making like lo-fi beats, I think it's okay. You don't really need sharp hi-hats, let's say. And then there's also an open hat. So there's track number 3. You can catch it on YouTube, and again, the link is in my bio, my YouTube link, that is. Plus also under there you'll also find links to my Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Pandora, Deezer, Instagram Music, Snapchat as well, Twitch. So whatever outlet you're using to listen to your music, you can find me there. Just type in Geshuru. That's Geshuru. Thank you. Let's move on to track number 4. Let's dive in very quick. Yeah, as we sift through, thank you to everyone who clicked onto the live. Yeah. So if you have any questions along the way, just type it in. I'll see if I can answer. This is Jews. Afraid of Christians. 2017. What is this? Ooh. We'll flip over to FL Studio 10 as I look for the other files which... okay. You throw. Give me a second. Just play a small snippet. There we go. So track number 4, Blow Up, which you can also find on my YouTube page. So let's give it a second to load. To be done in a few. There we go. So final tag part 1 not located. Okay, samples and so. Okay. So I'll play the track also, half of it, and then we'll do what we did in the other breakdowns, and then we'll just move on from there. So that was the track. Now we play each individual sample and then we'll move from there. So sample number 1. Also, as you can see here, let me just pull it to the middle. All my tracks, most of them, they're always pitched down a bit. So whether I make like a short sample, whatever, I try to tweak it up a little bit. I don't know why, because the original versions are okay, but I prefer it just a little different. So let me play the original version so you hear the difference. So this is without any pitch change. So it sounds okay, but at least personally for me, it could be a bit better. So now with. So it's very minute. It's not really like a big of a difference, but in the overall making of the track, if I was to change every single piece of the song, it would sound very different. So well, at least for me, this is how I like it, and it seems to work for the moment. So yeah, sample number 2. So, as you can hear, both of the samples are very guitar influenced. The first one is very, there's a lot of reverb on it, and it's, how would I say, very rock inspired. So yeah, that's the intro, and then now for the verse part of the song, I'll play the bass. So nothing really crazy, very straightforward, easy to listen to, properly EQ'd and mixed, as always, because it can be a bit of a hassle when you have to like listen with earphones, because sometimes in the mix, I think all the other producers can agree with me, it can get very annoying when it's nice and clear in your speakers, monitors, whatever you want to call them, and then when you play, let's say in a car or just on your phone, like to a friend, whatever, or with headphones, is very different. So like to make the overall sound of the song to be consistent, you have to be very careful with all these tiny, like you can mess up like very, very small, but in the main or rather towards the end, it will catch up to everything. That's the problem now, and you always have to watch out for that. So let's move on now to, wait a second. There we go. So, yeah, with this ones, I didn't really use that many samples. So as you can see, it's just all 3 alternating samples. So as you can see here, like in the intro, we have like 2. This is just so it's just white noise, just to make it a bit, I don't know, just a bit more grand. Because if it's just basic, if you don't have it, it's, I don't know, personally for me, it sounds very basic. So just to make things a bit more exciting, put a bit of effects, just tiny things to make it a bit better. So yeah, right now let's move on then to the drums very quick. So to those who have headphones and can hear that, that's a sub kick. So basically it's just a regular kick with all the highs cut off, the mid, just a bit of the mids taken away, just to make it, all I need is just the, I don't know how to call that sound, but it's very subby. Like if you don't have headphones, it's very difficult to hear, or proper speakers, that is. So let's move on to the claps. So as you can hear, the clap has a huge echo. At first I was a bit hesitant with that one because I was like, oh, towards the end of the mix, maybe the echo will disrupt the bass or maybe the main melody, and also maybe it will just be muddy overall. And then I'll have to like over compress the track, which is very like it's very annoying because when it's overly compressed, the track can feel very mid, like very not really professional. It just sounds uncomfortable to listen to. Let's say that. So now to the other elements of the song, mainly the percussion side. So there are the kicks, nothing really crazy, just a simple, at least for me, I try to keep it as very simple as I can. Where I can play around with or just tweak up a bit is mainly with the hi-hats, because it's easy to do like a bit of like rolls here and there, so it's a bit more exciting. But other than that, I would say you don't really need to do too much. You just need to do enough, or rather what is necessary with your track. Yeah. So, oh, and also thank you again to everyone who's tuning in. Thank you very much. You appreciate it. And yeah, stick around for more. We have 2 more songs to go through, and yeah, that will be, yeah, I'll wrap up towards the end. So that was Blow, track number 4, if I'm not wrong. So let me play it one last time. Here we go. There we go. So let's move on to track number 5 very fast. Yeah, here it is. So let's give it a few seconds to load up. Towards the end also, I'll show you guys like a small glimpse of let's say my mastering, quote unquote mastering. It's not really perfect, but at least it's what works for me for the most part. So here we go. So I'll play the track as per usual, and then half of it, and then from there we can break down each individual component of the song, and then yeah, we'll have our track done. that's half of the track. Now we just go through each individual part of the song. So very fast. Here's the first sample that you hear in the intro. So without the EQs, let me just tilt it a bit. So as you can see here, the effects are off. So, and it's soloed, so let's hear it. Nice. And now let's move on to sample number 2. Now this is in the verse section of the song. So we have like a small, like kind of like a warm up before now it leads to the verse. So we'll play that. So as you can see, again, the track is very straightforward, nothing too crazy. It's not really science, at least personally for me. It's more of just grabbing as much ideas as I can and trying to make something digestible and something easy to consume to the listeners. Because there are many people who like have like melodies on top of melodies, which is very nice, but at least for my style of music, I feel like it's very realistic to make it a bit more comprehensible to the person listening. Because, you know, sometimes you may put like very tiny details to a song and not everyone really resonates towards it. They're just like, it's just a regular song. And you have like things on the left side or the right side of the track. You have small kicks, whatever. So I feel like sometimes it's good to be creative with the little that you have and make it a bit more diverse. Yeah. So now we move on to the drums. So let me just solo them out very quick. Very simple, very simple. Just regular trap, kick, and snare. Very, very straight to the point. Let's put in the hi-hats. As you can see, like it's nothing really out of the box or groundbreaking. It's just it's a pattern that you've had in many songs over and over again. But just the small changes, like with the hi-hats, it's not the regular into hi-hats, just nah, it's a bit more this space within. So there's some spaces which makes it a bit more how would I put it? It's more chill. It's not like you're running and then like there's no break, whatever. So it's just, and then it flows also with the sample as you can hear it. So I'll play them together with the sample. And then that's the first 4 bars of the verse. Now as we move to the second part of it, that's where now we get a bit more fast, let's say that. So there's a change. So the hi-hat becomes this. As you can see. And also like one major thing, if you really pay attention to the tracks, or rather my songs, you can hear like there's always like a small tiny like break or switch up just to make it a bit different, because I don't like really making long songs, and with the little material that I have, I try to make it as digestible as possible. So I'm trying to grab your attention with let's see, a 2-minute 24-second track. So at least to keep it within that range, I have to like make a bit of, just to make a small switch so that you know like like something different is coming towards the end. So like something small like this. Let me just push it like back a bit. Something small like that. Right now, it doesn't really seem like much, but if you're just a casual listener, chilling, listening, those breaks, and also like if it's on a stage being performed, it's really like it's very dynamic, it's very different, it's very exciting, for the most part at least. So yeah, let's move on to the bass, the 808s. There we go. Also, everything with my bass and kicks, they have to hit as hard as possible. Because if they're just there basic, it doesn't really do much for the person who's listening. Or rather, also for if there's a rapper or singer who wants to hop on it, it also has to be very exciting for them as well. And I feel like that's an interesting component to add. There we go. Also another piece of the percussion, an open hat. So one difference here, which you can hear, usually like most producers, what they do is with the 808s, what they try to do is this, they try to like align them together. So if the 808 is just going, let me play like a short so you can at least follow through. So if they're doing this with the 808, if they're doing that, they also want the kick to like align. Usually like it's very like it's also, there's nothing bad with that, but for me also it feels like a bit generic, because it's kind of like you're doing whatever everyone else is doing, and doesn't really add any excitement to production or just the sport of music as a whole. So yeah, as like there are parts where like I align the kick with the 808, but also I let it breathe in some instances. So like that. There we go. It's a bit more it's just exciting, because it's very there are two different components, and when you fit everything together in grid, it just feels like it's very computerized. It doesn't feel like, you have to humanize the tracks a bit, because you can't be perfect. You can't just be laying everything exactly on the dot. Now with where I do that, like where I want everything like on grid, is with the main melodies. Because when you have a melody lagging, whether it's like a few seconds back, it offsets everything. It doesn't flow, there's no rhythm, and it gets really frustrating to listen to. So sorry. So yeah, that was quite a longer breakdown than I expected. So on to the last track. Now with this other track, I'll be playing it on FL Studio 10. We were currently on FL Studio 20. That's the latest version. But when I was broke, this is what I was using. Give me like a second. I have to load it up. It's one of my most viewed tracks up to date. It's on YouTube. It's a Kendrick Lamar type beat, Sober, on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitch, Shazam. Any outlet that you're using is called it's under the name Sober. Also on my Instagram, it's there, Sober. So yeah, make sure to give it a listen on your free time on all major platforms. Give me a second. Later on, I'll also add another one, because Give me a quick second. Don't play next. Okay, let's see if the track will load up. Quick second. Like I said before, like when you switch different DAWs, so DAW basically stands for digital audio workstation, and I have like 3 versions of the same software. So FL Studio 10, FL Studio 12, and FL Studio 20. When you open all of them simultaneously, your computer, I don't know, personally for me, like I haven't had like a major crash in my system. Maybe like in the last 3-4 years, like I've had like 2 major crashes where I lost everything. But for the most part, nothing really crazy should happen. So give me a quick second. I'll just go through this. Don't play. Okay, loading up. Yo. There we go. So most of you may hear something familiar with this track. If you've heard the track before, just drop it in the comments on the live. And yeah, thank you for staying in tune with everything. So I'll just play the song and then I'll break down each individual piece of the song. So that was the track, named Sober, on all major platforms: YouTube Music, Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, what else? Pandora, Instagram, Snapchat, every single major platform out there. So let's break it down. So let's start with the first sample you hear in the song. bass, simply it's just a piano with an electrical guitar fused together. Just very slight EQ, nothing really crazy. Where are you? Give me a quick second. So yeah, as you can see here, low end out, a bit of the mids removed, very little, nothing really crazy, and towards the highs just a slight boost just to make it a bit more dynamic and clear and softer to listen to. So now the second part is my interesting part of the whole track. That I'll play without any effects. So that's how it sounds without any effects. With just a regular synth. Nothing really, there was no depth to it really. So with a little bit of EQ, no low end, kind of okay, but not really where we want it to be. And then with a bit of a reverb. But I was like, yeah, we can do a bit more, can tweak it a little bit. Now with this, it's a native plugin in FL Studio. It's called Hardcore. So basically with the effect, what it does, give me a second. So here it is, Hardcore, as you can see. So it's set on AC/DC rhythm. So if you know the band, AC/DC. So it's more metal sounding. So usually like, I don't know, it's not really that common to most people to use it, but in this case, I felt like it needed like a bit more guitarish feel. Cause it's it's not just a synth. Well, it is a synth, but it's a sine synth. So it's very basic. It's a very basic sounding, like flat sound, nothing really impactful with it. So, but if you add the hardcore preset, 1 second, sorry. Oh, so here it is. So again, without, and now with. Much better, more interesting, more dynamic. Yeah. So now let's move on to the bass really quickly. Also, the bass is also very straightforward. It's a bit more like there's more meat in it, like more fleshy, more thick. Because it's very, at least with this track, because with the main sample, it doesn't really have any bass to it. It's very like MIDI, very high and bassed. So there's no really bass to the original or rather to the main sample. So we needed something a bit more punchier, a bit more deep, and not so very short, like a bit more sustained. So let me see if I put anything different here. Yeah. So basically with this track was very simple, straightforward, and again, I will never get tired of saying this, at least personally for me. My tracks are very straight to the point. Different, but straight to the point. You won't, earlier on when I started production, I used to have like 10 different claps and 3 types of kicks and hi-hats everywhere. And it's super nice and it's very creative and all that, but I feel like overall it just takes away from the feeling. Because with this one, it was just a simple track. And personally, when I made it, there was not really crazy to it. It was just a regular song, and I just wanted to. I was just having fun with it. And fast forward, and let me just show you real quick. So let's go to my YouTube content. So let me just pull up the track. So as you can see here, that simple track with those simple ideas managed to capture 73,000 people, and they liked it, over 2,000 likes. And I'm not saying that the likes or the views say that the track is overall good or bad, but in general, like, it made more impact just as calm and simple as it was. So you don't really need to do too much for people like to mess with your beats, or rather to like fuck with your sound. You don't really need to do all that. Just be you. Whatever idea you have in your head, just put it down, try to make sense of it, and if it resonates with people, if they like it, they like it. If they don't, you just go back to the studio and you try it again and again and again and again until you strike gold, diamond, whatever it is you want to achieve. So let's go now to the final track. The final one will be a more mellow, relaxed, nothing really crazy. So just give me a quick second. I don't know, maybe I should play like something more romantic, like R&B type vibe. Give me like a second. Let's see if it's this one. And also, in most of my... Oh wow, it's not there. Interesting. Well, let me give it a quick listen. Yeah, we'll just go with this. With most of my tracks, what I try to also use is, let me just pull it up real quick. I try using the native instruments from the plugin itself, or sorry, the software, because plugins are very expensive. To all the people who have basic production knowledge, or you just buy plugins, whether it's for music or maybe even filming, photography, you all know it can get a bit costly. But when you have some native plugins, they leave less to be desired, but sometimes, every once in a while, they do strike gold. Every once in a while, not every time. So I'll play the track. It's also on my YouTube. Every track that I play you can find it easily on my YouTube page. The tracks is Love Me More, a Trippie Redd type beat, or Juice WRLD type beat. So it's more in that emo trap type of vibe. So yeah, let's give it a listen and then break it down, and then we'll conclude today's session, and then yeah, pick it up from there.
Atlanta.
was the track. So right now what we'll do, we'll just break it down again, piece by piece, and then play it all together. And now towards the end, I think I'll show you guys just with this one. Oh, what did I do? Oh, where's the undo? There we go. So let me just save it. So yeah, with this track I'll play it also like without the mastering, and then it's very quick, very easy, but towards the end. And then maybe later on I can, maybe in a different live, I can expound on it like deeper, like more in depth, at least my process and what I picked up from other producers here and there, and then hopefully it makes sense. And yeah, let's keep it moving. So here's the first sample of the track.
Atlanta.
So as you can hear, it's a very R&B inspired guitar, very straightforward, nothing really crazy about it, but overall nice melody, not really boring but still interesting to listen to. And again, pitched down to semitones. Let me just pre it back. So this is how it sounds regular. As you can hear, it doesn't, at least personally for me, it doesn't really sound depressing enough. So we had to like pull it down a little bit. So there's just a small difference, but overall it impacts the track at the end. Like it makes it a bit more dynamic, more interesting. At least for me personally. I don't know, this is the pitch which I usually love working in. So not really too upbeat, too high, because there's some songs which you can do that, but at least for me and in my small producer pocket or niche, I would say, I try like to just not stay in this like zone, but just move different. I mean, not staying like on grid with everyone else, but just switching it up a bit. So now let's just move on to the second part of it. So I'll play the bass because this is very straightforward. Nothing really, there's not too much happening other than the drums. So here's the 808s. So as you can hear, it's very punchy, very strong, very in your face. And that was the intention, that was the vibe, because the guitar is very like melodic, very like laid back, but the drums are also aggressive. So just to put a bit of contrast to the whole song. Now let's play the kick. As you can hear, the kick is also very punchy, intended as well. And now let's go to the hi-hat. Sorry. So yeah, as you can hear, like the hi-hat, if you've listened to or paid attention to people like Trippie Redd, Bryson Tiller, the hi-hats are very like dynamic, very like chopped up, very fast. There are many rolls, panned left to right, whatever. So like in this track I drew like a bit of inspiration from that, just to make it a bit more dynamic, more interesting, and not just like basic. Because I feel like you can't really do the same shit in every single track. You have to be a bit more dynamic and different. At least switch a bit here and there, just to make it a bit more different, at least to the larger audience or to people who are meeting or listening to, interacting with your content every day. So you have to like switch it up a bit. So that was just the drums, and now sorry, I'll play now the counter melody. Very subtle, very hidden in a way, but overall adds to the whole to the bigger picture. Now I'll play together with the first sample. Sounds more dynamic, more deep, and also you can tell like, okay, we're from the verse, now we're in the second one, and then after that we have the break. So this. So like the break, and then like a small bridge. So just small changes here and there just to make the track a bit more, and you hear me saying this word a lot, dynamic and a bit progressive, not just the same shit. So yeah, just a quick run through. So this is how my mixing looks like. So as you can see, like the different meters, everything is, because let me just cut out the main compression. So this is the track without any compression. So as you can hear it, there's not a major difference. It's not like the mastering made it like change the levels or anything. It's just a quick boost in the overall volume, because that's what mastering is. It's just volume, and well, not just volume per se, but overall they just uplifting the track. Obviously there are many tweaks here and there, like just to get it like perfect. And I'm not saying like my method is perfect in any way. I would say some may even argue that it's very lackluster. It's just but at least for me it works. And because overall, like for Apple Music, Spotify, like everything has to be on point. And for me, it's let's say it's up to industry requirements. So yeah, this is more it's just a quick look, but overall it's a bit, in time like I'll divulge deeper into it, so it's more understandable and palatable, at least to understand. But again, basically for mastering to work, mixing has to be very heavily involved. So as you can see, the levels, whatnot, everything is like properly like timed, and like so with the faders and everything, if you put everything at least on different grids, it sounds a bit more comprehensive like this. So when you add the volume, nothing crazy changes. So it's not really like the music or the song changed. It's just everything was leveled properly, and now the volume was just boosted up. But now when you don't properly mix your track, now what you can have is at the end, now it's very muddy, very uncomfortable to listen to, and it's peaking and basically peaking like you're about to rip your speakers. It basically feels like that. Like the kick is just thumping too much. There's a lot of feedback from it. The snare is giving you too much feedback, hi-hats, bass. So it's like overall the track is just unlistenable. Whether whoever you have, Beyonce or whoever, like the track is very lackluster. You don't really want to, you just like, it doesn't sound really professional. So for the most part, mixing is very key. And you always, like in the beginning, like piece by piece. Usually most people, like they do it like each part of the song like one by one. But personally for me, what I try to do is cut it, let's say like at the end. So I just make the track, not to distract myself, at least to keep the ideas flowing. And then when I feel like I've had enough, and then I just go in piece by piece, element by element, quickly just EQing, adding the necessary effects here and there, and then arranging the track, as you can see. Not for it to not be at least boring, to be a bit interesting. So you see like there's different sections to it. It's properly mixed, it's properly mastered. So overall, when somebody listens to it, they enjoy it and they share it, and in the long run you see people gravitating to it. And also with this one, again, not saying that numbers are what we're chasing here, but overall, when at least a track is good, you see most people are flocking towards it and appreciating it. As you can see here, the track managed to garner 1,158 views on YouTube. And yeah, this is my channel again. You can find it at Geshuru, so Geshuru. And you can divulge into my other tracks if you have any suggestions, feedback, comments, outrage, whatever you have in your mind, just hop in my DM. Yeah, we'll get some conversation started, and hopefully you'll be seeing more of me and I more of you. So yeah, that'll be all for today. Thank you for tuning in. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing more of this. And slowly as we progress, you'll be seeing more of my face as well, the man behind the camera. So thank you, and bye bye.